Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Necromancer Wizard multi-class with the Death Domain Cleric in Baldur's Gate 3. I think this is better than 12 levels of the Necromancer Wizard, and here's why. So, the Death Domain Cleric gives us the Inescapable Destruction at level 6, which ignores resistances to necrotic damage, so we can cast Circle of Death, which will now ignore resistances, and if we take out a target with it, we get 18 health points back from the Necromancer Wizard. We also get the necrotic version of Spirit Guardians, which we can also upcast, and we can learn all the spells from scrolls. I think the best way to start is actually with the Cleric, because early on, getting the Death Domain is nice because of the Reaper, allowing us to target 2 targets with a cantrip, so that's an extra, basically doubling our damage whenever we're casting any of the cantrips. Extremely useful. And we can also get ourselves Bone Chill here, which you normally can't get from the Cleric. And I would recommend also grabbing the Bursting Sinew and the Toll the Dead cantrip, and Sacred Flames there for anything that's vulnerable to radiant damage. Now, we also got to spread our stats a little bit because we're wisdom based, but we're also going to need some intelligence too. Now, we can go with a spread of something like this: 14 dex, 14 constitution, 14 intelligence, and 16 wisdom. If we're starting the game off and you don't have the wizard, don't take any intelligence. You can put your dexterity up to 16. Most armor, that's medium armor, is only going to give you a +2 from your dexterity modifier, so you're not missing out a whole lot, just initiative. But we can go with something like this, and then alternatively, we can also dump one of these stats. So if you got the gloves of dexterity, you can dump your dexterity and put those points all into your intelligence stat there and take that up to about 16. Or if you have the constitution amulet, you can also dump your constitution. Although there is items that will give us arcane acuity we could also use. At level 2, this is when we get the Touch of Death. So anytime that we do a melee attack, which there's spells that'll count, like Inflict Wounds actually counts as a melee spell, so that will apply the Touch of Death, which gives us additional damage using our Channel Divinity. And also we get a variety of spells. I would recommend having a lineup of Healing Word, Command, Inflict Wounds, Create or Destroy Water if you have others on your team that can cast lightning or cold spells. If not, Bless and Guiding Bolt as well. So we'll roll with a spell like that. And into level 2, we get Enfeebling, Ray of Enfeeblement, and the Blindness spell. We also get access to level 2 spells, which has some very powerful ones like Hold Person and Spiritual Weapon, which gives us a bonus action ability and a very powerful ability with Hold Person. Into level 4, we get a choice in feat here, and I would recommend, there's a few options. We can go with ability score improvement on either our intelligence or our wisdom. Intelligence is likely better later on, but early game wisdom will be better. Alert for the +5 to initiative is also something that's really useful, so that can be good too, especially early on in the game. Being able to go first is nice to have. And then for the cantrips, we'll also go with something like resistance or guidance or even produce flame. And once we get ourselves to level 5 here, this is when we get Destroy Undead. We also get the Vampiric Touch and the Animate Dead spell, which we'll get from the Necromancer Wizard. But the big one here is we get Spirit Guardians, which gives us 3 to 24 radiant or necrotic damage and halving the enemy's movement speed. This stacks up and works very well with a lot of different things, and we can upcast it for additional 1d8 of damage die per level. Let's get Mass Healing Word, which is nice to have, and Glyph of Warding, so we'll just stack up with those spells there. The nice thing with the Cleric is you can choose your spells at any time because it's Prepared Caster. Final level, level 6, we get Inescapable Destruction. When we cast a necrotic damage spell, it ignores resistances to that damage. Huge, huge, huge. You'll see why. So then we can go ahead with something else like Glyph of Warding here for our final spell. Revivify is also somewhat of a useful spell to have here too, but we can change these out at any moment. Also, you can use the Hag's Hair to either boost up your wisdom, dexterity, or your intelligence too, so that's something else. Level 7 does give us Blight, which is nice, but we don't need that right yet because we can always learn spells from scrolls. With the Wizard, we get a lot of actually really useful cantrips. I recommend having Mage Hand. You can throw health potions with this. Ray of Frost does cold damage, and also Firebolt is nice because we can explode things with it. If you need to get away from target, Shocking Grasp is good, and even Minor Illusion is good for the grouping up of enemies. Yeah, we got a lot of options for spells here. I'd recommend having Shield. +5 to armor class is huge. Thunderwave is also quite nice. Magic Missile. Mage Armor if you want to wear robes, but it's almost better to wear medium armor at this point. Increased movement speed. Find Familiar is also quite nice, and Chromatic Orb just gives us all types of damage coverage, and we can roll with spells like that. At level 2, this is when we get to take our subclass, and we'll take our Necromancy here. This gives us the Reaper and Grim Harvest, so once per turn if you kill a creature with a spell, you regain points equal to twice the spell slot level used, thrice if it's a Necromancy spell. So this again will heal us for 18 with a Circle of Death. Undead and constructs are unaffected. Huge boost. We also get to take more spells, Fog Cloud, I guess, and Ice Knife or Grease. You can go with something like that. And the nice thing is we're going to be actually using scrolls and learning spells from there. Into the next level, you get Scorching Ray. We're going to definitely take this because we can take the Hat of Fire Acuity to land all of our spells with. And then we also got Misty Step here just for the extra survivability. So that one is really nice, and we'll prepare both of these spells because we got all the spell slots in the world to cast them. At level 4, we get ourselves another choice in spells. With level 2, Darkness can be nice, but I don't fully recommend it here. Mirror Image for the increased armor class by 9 is also nice. And Shadow Blade is good on a lot of builds, but it's not good on this one. So we can go with something like, I guess we'll take Darkness, but it doesn't really matter if there's other spells here you prefer, you can take them because we're going to be replacing them with spells. We also take Shocking Grasp there, and we'll roll with spells like that. Now for our feat, I would recommend taking an increase for our intelligence here. Also my dexterity to 15 because we use the Hag's Hair to take it up to 16. You can also do that with one of the other stats there as well. It's your choice, but we're going with the increased intelligence because this lets us prepare more spells. We'll take the Fireball and the Lightning Bolt. Counterspell is something we'll take at next level as well, or you can take it at this level. Counterspell is extremely useful to have. We always pretty much want to have that equipped, and we'll go with our stat spread like that. And then for our final level, level 6, we get the Animate Undead, additional Undead. So whenever we do Animate Dead, we get an extra one. And whenever we summon them in, they get additional health points equal to our wisdom level, or wizard level, so a +6. And get +3 added to their damage, so proficiency bonus. And we get the Animate Dead spell. It's nice. We already got it. But we'll take Lightning Bolt there and Haste, because you can't get those normally. And we'll roll with something like this for our spells, but we're going to learn them from scrolls here in a moment. Now, the beautiful part about this is things like Scroll of Circle of Death, 86 Necrotic, ignores resistance. We can learn this from a scroll, and it's going to cost us half the amount of money it normally would. And we can also obviously learn a powerful Chain Lightning, Wall of Ice, the other wizard spells that we don't want to not have, because it's good to just have some extra choices as well. We'll take Odaluk's Freezing Sphere. So then we can go ahead here into our wizard spell book and then add that in over spells that we may not use as much. So Circle of Death, we definitely want to have equipped. And we do have other options, like if you're not going to use Haste, we could take like Chain Lightning or Odaluk's Freezing Sphere. I really like Odaluk's Freezing Sphere and Chain Lightning. They're both really powerful spells, but we got Animate Dead there as well that we want to be using too. So we'll roll with that for our overall spell selection. And for gear, I'd recommend the Hat of Fire Acuity. The reason why, we got Scorch and Ray, which can stack up max Arcane Acuity so that we can land our very powerful Circle of Death, which could potentially miss. We also have the Heightened Necromancy from the Staff of Cherished Necromancy, which makes creatures have disadvantage on saving throws against necromancy spells, so that's really good. And we also, whenever we kill a hostile creature, we really absorb its life energy and get life essence until the next long rest, so we can keep casting spells. Pretty useful. This also gives us extra necrotic damage when we do melees, but we're not. Cloak of Protection, better armor class. You can also go with the Deathstalker Mantle, or you can go with the Vivacious Cloak to give yourself temporary health when you cast a spell. I have the Adamantine Scale Mail armor. This is great early game armor choice. 16 armor class and all the extra benefits there. Armor of Agility will be a little bit better. Gives you a higher armor class at 17, and then plus our full dexterity modifier, which is still only a +2. So it doesn't really matter unless you get your armor class up to 6, or yeah, +3 would give us the 25 armor class there. And the Helldust armor, I feel like, is the lore appropriate look for this build. So you could go with that. Penumbral armor, I guess, early game, if you really don't have the any other better medium armor. We typically want to have medium armor on, so we'll roll with something like that. We don't get heavy armor proficiencies, unfortunately, so the armor agility is the peak. Adamantine is the early game. But if you do get the Helldusk armor, I'm going to use it for the purpose of this. It's really good. So it's a late game option, I guess, but Adamantine would be the early game choice. And then we also got the Gloves of the Beleaguered Skies here. So whenever we do Thunder, Radiant, or Lightning damage, we get 2 turns of reverberation on the enemy. We also can go with another choice like Helldust Gloves late game, +1 to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. That's not bad. We also got the Luminous Gloves. When we do Radiant damage, we apply 2 turns of Radiating Orb, which is also quite nice. We do have the Spirit Guardians and the Guiding Bolt that we could use for that. You don't have to use the Necrotic version. If the targets aren't resistant to Necrotic, you don't really get that big benefit from it, but it just gives us more options. And if you want to increase your overall armor class, the Wondrous Gloves work well, or the Winter's Crutches if you really want to use cold spells, but we don't really have a whole lot of them. So I would say that the Gloves of the Beleaguered Skies is likely the best, and to pair that with the Boots of Stormy Clamor work well as too, because then we stack up reverberation pretty quickly. Then I also had the Coruscation Ring, which will apply Radiating Orbs if we hit a target with spell, if we're illuminated, and we actually have a lot of illuminated items near us, so that's good. And then also the Ring of Protection and the Amulet of Greater Health, Biconia's Walking Fortress, and Hell Rider Longbow for the +3 to our initiative. So we do need to get undead summoned, but it's not always the easiest thing. We do need corpses. There are places in the game that you can get unlimited corpses, and you can also find them and keep them in your pocket too. So those are some options as well. We do use a lot of corpses because we got the Bursting Sinew here, which we can explode 2 corpses at a time, and then we can also turn them into undead servants. So few different options. So now I will show what this looks like in combat. If you know you're getting into a combat encounter, you can pull a sneaky one and put on like a staff of spell power to give yourself an arcane battery, and then go ahead with upcasting a spirit guardians to the max level. This is nice because this will just again give you a boost to the overall damage that we'll be putting out. And you can also go with the radiant version if we have the gloves that boost up our radiant damage, so that's another option as well. As for our first turn in combat, we want to stack up a bit of reverberation, so we're going to run around 4 stacks of reverberation, because a condition from the Boots of Stormy Clamor is the slowdown from this. So we actually get a lot of nice benefits from using a couple pieces of gear. It's kind of a little puzzle of finding where you can run without proccing any opportunity attacks while still keeping the Spirit Guardians up. And then we want to get to a place where we can stack our Arcane Acuity. So we got the Scorching Ray here. And the nice thing about Scorching Ray is if we use it at level 5 there, or level 4, we get basically the max amount of Arcane Acuity from this. So we'll just roll ahead with our first attack. Boom. And it applies Radiating Orbs on the enemies there. We got only a +8 to Arcane Acuity, but that's more than enough, because then that'll put our Wisdom saves up to 23 and the Wizard up to 24. So we are landing our shots. Next, we want to use a powerful spell. So we see a area of opportunity. There's a lot of targets in the range of this. We have a 96% hit chance with that, so that's really good. But what we can also do is we have the Consume Life Essence here because we took someone out. So we can pop this and do a free Circle of Death. And if we didn't have any health points, we get 18 health points back for taking out a target with this. Circle of Death normally is not a very good spell, but you can see here it's pretty good when you can just drop everybody and then stack Radiating Orbs on those that survive. And if we are able to run into a position to stack up extra health, we can do that. It'd be nice to get a bonus action ability to summon an undead, but unfortunately that's a little bit too overpowered. But you can summon them again prior to getting into combat. And the reason we want counterspell is commands. So we can just shut that down, put the kibosh on it. We don't have to worry about it. Unfortunately, my mage hand did get taken out, but if you need any extra health, your mage hand can throw your healing potions for you. So that's another nice thing about it. And we're going to try and run and get our Spirit Guardians again applied on anybody that we possibly can. So that gave the reverberation 4 stacks. And we lost a bit of Arcane Acuity because our turn ended. So we can then reapply it with the Scorching Ray, which is a very powerful spell. So boom, we can blast that, get our max stacks. Puts our Arcane Acuity up to a 25 for our Cleric spells and a 26 for the Necromancer Wizard. So that means we're going to make our shots. And the most beautiful thing about this is we still have our level 6 spell slot, so we can use a Circle of Death. And then we can also use a free cast of the Lithid, so we can do another Circle of Death. So that's nice because we're going to get maximum healing, because that's 3 times the spell slot level, so 18 healing every single time, times 18 times 3. I don't know the math offhand. It's a lot of healing. Also, we got a great spell save DC for some of our more powerful spells, like the Hold Person there. We do have Spirit Guardians up right now, so I wouldn't recommend doing that, but we're just going to go with a Circle of Death, 99% hit chance. It's going to hit in a huge area of effect. Boom, applies Radiating Orbs. It wasn't enough to take out both targets, but you know what is better than that? I guess we don't have an extra action. I was going to say we can pop another one of those, but we'll end it off there. And we somehow hit Reverberation off on him, so yeah, we saved on command, thankfully. And there we go. We'll now finish them off. They have 30 health. They're going to die if we walk towards them with this. It'd be a little unfair to finish them off with that, so I'll be nice and use Circle of Death here with this nice 8d6, which is roughly the same damage that our Spirit Guardians are doing, 68. So yeah, there's a lot of damage here. We could also, I guess, go with an Inflict Wounds, and I'll show you what an upcast version of that would look like. It's 95% hit chance. Then we didn't even get to launch it off because we took him out, but the Circle of Death and the Touch of Death from the Death Domain Cleric would have applied as well. So yeah, we also have Vampiric Touch, which ignore resistances. This is very powerful. Necrotics damage spells have never been stronger than with this build here, ignoring resistances and getting all the free casts and the Consume Life. So you can basically keep applying Circle of Death till the cows come home. So yeah, it's pretty crazy how strong this gets. Every time you consume a soul, you get another charge. You can use the blast with this and get 18 health back. This is a crazy build. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. I'll see you all in the next video.